So Stian says, a 26-year-old male from Norway. Do you have some advice if you have no work, few friends, and just experienced a bad breakup? I'm depressed. I don't like being with myself and I feel very lonely. Ah, I see. Well, you know, we are animals that we love to be in a pack, like wolves. We feel security in that. And we don't necessarily like to be lonely. It's okay to be alone. We talked about it before. But we don't want to be lonely because and the reason we are lonely is because we don't interact. For some reason we find, it's like if you go play soccer and then you hurt your leg and you can't run and you sit on a corner. And while you're sitting on the corner, all you're thinking about is something wrong with me because you're sitting in a corner. You attribute and you connect the space and immobility that you have for the reasons that you have hurt your leg, but you don't think about the reason. You just think about what you're doing, and what you're doing is sitting around immobile, and that causes you to think that you're not interacting, obviously, no exchange of energy, so then you feel you're lonely. But you're lonely because your leg hurts and you're sitting around in a corner, not that you really are lonely by force of the situation. Now, when you are going through a breakup and you have no job, and therefore you feel useless in a way, and nothing is worse for a man to feel, I'm not making money, I don't have a job, and the one thing that was making me to feel more was my girlfriend, and now she broke up with me. That means to me, I feel like it's diminished. So now that one thing that was making me feel more, and I was getting pleasure from it, because not having the job and not having anything, the sex itself would have made me to forget about every challenge and everything that I didn't have. And at that moment of intimacy and climax and sex, I wouldn't focus on anything else but her, but the pleasure, and it would make me feel whole and complete and not worry about, I don't have a job, I don't have money. None of that would come to mind. In fact, I wouldn't even be aware of my own existence at that moment of making love. And therefore, it was perfect, and I could see that salvation, momentary however it was, in her. Now I don't even have that. So to me, now what am I going to do? Because the job is the problem that I don't have. But her was bringing pleasure in such a way that I would forget about the job that I don't have. Now that she's not there, the job looks bigger problem, and I don't have the pleasure. So it's all seems to be, what am I going to do? Well, the good news is that was the gloomy part. And also the fact that I know about these things, and what you're going through, from what I just said, you should realize what you're going through is not an anomaly, is not exclusive to you. Everybody is going through it or has gone through it, or if he hasn't, they will. So this is part of life. Don't be too depressed because you're being normal. The fact that you're going through this, you have no job, you have no girlfriend, no pleasure, and you feel lonely, that's normal. That's being normal. That's being part of life. There is no one in this world that has not experienced what you're experiencing now, or is not experiencing right now what you're experiencing now, or if it hasn't, will not experience what you're experiencing now. Everybody has, are, or will. And that is part of who we are. This is part of this life. This is how this river flows. So stop thinking, number one, stop thinking that this is you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're just in this part of the experience of life. That's okay. We all do that. Second is, the good news is that every day things change. You cannot take this moment of what you are, think because this is what you see and this is what you know how it is, then this is how it's going to be forever. That's not true. It is only how it is now. It could be like this tomorrow. It could be the day after. It could be for a month or a year. I don't know. But it doesn't matter. Because every day, regardless of you see the change or not, there are changes being made anyhow. You may not see it. It may not be visible. And you may not notice it. That's fine. But it doesn't matter that it's not happening. The changes towards something new is happening, even if you're sitting around. But my suggestion to you is don't sit around. Don't think that this is something you can't do anything about it and it's just the way it is and you're the only one in the world that this happened to. No, none of that. This is like you got a cold and you know that everybody else got a cold and it will go away eventually. So therefore you don't think about it too much. You just endure it. You do what you got to do and you rest and you whatever and then and you're fine, that you know it'll be fine. Now I want you to think about this the same, that many people have gone through it, and if your reason for being depressed is the fact of the girlfriend and the no job and it doesn't have a medical reason to it, because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, therefore you need to talk to your doctor if you feel that you're depressed for any other reason than these sort of things, which are temporary, and then have him or her tell you what they think you should do for that. If they do a blood test to see if you have any chemical imbalance or any reason for the depression, these are things that I'm not qualified to talk about. But what I'm talking about is my experiences and experience of a regular normal day-to-day depression that people could have because of this happening or that happening, or some kind of a light thing, as you say, about your girlfriend or breakup. So first, you need to understand that you need to get involved with exchanging energy. And you need to look at this as just a cold. And that is going to go away by you taking care of yourself. Part of that could be go to your doctor and talk to your doctor about how you feel and see what they think about it, like you do when you have a cold or a bad cold. However, having done that, then what you need to do is to think that this is normal. There's nothing weird about you. And you're not a loser of any kind. This is what we all experience. And if we experienced it last year, I could experience it next year again. Or with somebody else a few months from now. I may break up and I feel sad about it. So this is all what is part of life is. Then you need to exchange energy, meaning you need to get involved with something that gets the old energy out and brings new fresh energy in. Like when you do cooking in the kitchen, smoke is there. Now if you don't open the window and let this cooking smoke go out and fresh air come in, it'll be kind of uncomfortable. So what you need to do is the same. You need to have this conflux of energy encouraged by exercising to your fitness level, what is healthy for you. You may want to discuss again with your physicians to make sure that exercise is good for you. And then you want to do some maybe walk on the beach, and maybe if you have few friends, well, some of those friends are available, and then you can maybe take a walk with them, discuss things that bothers you or things about your breakup a little bit, and then alongside of maintaining all this, the maintenance that you're doing for exchanging energy and discussing the thingy what you're going through and getting support from your friends, and because when you're with friends and so on, there's oxytocin is created by the fact that you're around them, and that brings you a natural high, which definitely is what the brain can do. And the other thing is that you want to make sure that you sit and plan for making more effort to find a job. It doesn't matter what it is, something that you get paid for it, something that is a decent job, something, whether it's in your field or not, something that makes you feel like I am producing money, a little bit even, just for the morality of it, yeah? And some of the things that you definitely don't want to do is to try to rely on temporary pleasures of whether sex or a drug or something to smoke or drinking to make you kind of feel like everything is okay. That's bullshit. Don't do that. That's negative. That bringing toxin in your system, that bringing addictions to you, introducing addictions to you, and the substances that does that, other than what the brain is capable to do naturally, are not good for any situation, let alone this kind of situation. So encourage your sports activities to your healthy fitness level, create exchange of energy, do things that you like to do, look for a job definitely, carefully and vigorously, and spend time with the friends that you like, talk about the things that concerns you, and create this creation of oxytocin and serotonin and dopamine. By being around your friends and family, the oxytocin is created, because when you are with a girlfriend, naturally your mind secretes these chemicals. Dopamine gives you the signature, the signing of something good is happening, and then the holding hands or looking at each other's eyes and interacting that way, promise of sex and pleasure, brings the oxytocin, and then of course serotonin and opioid, and all these create this high in you, and then they hijack this whole feeling of highness and make you only focus on, I want the girl back. Because this is just like a drug. The people who get on drugs, and then the drugs hijack their good feelings and make them shoot it up so high, and all they can think of is not really what happiness they have, is how can I get that happiness back, because it shoots down again, and then you want that feeling and you go to get more drugs and so on. Now, being with a girl in a relationship, it has a similar effect to that particular girl. So what you're feeling is that you want the high that you were getting from that girl, because it was creating all these dopamine and oxytocin and serotonin and opioid and all that because of that relationship. And you're going through a certain kind of a withdrawal symptom. And in order to combat that, you got to create that energy and the things that it makes you feel good by sports, healthy activities, friends and family to create the oxytocin, and a job to bring the satisfaction that something good is happening. Dopamine is created. All these natural behavior will create that natural balance in you. And before you know it, she doesn't seem to be any problem or a main problem or big problem, because you have compensated with all these other success and all these other achievements, all these other management of what you're going through, and yet if you feel confident and capable to manage this, and in that way you're on your way to get in the gear and get out of the puddle, the pit that you parked in, and see that you're definitely capable of climbing up of this and moving on and see what's out there, and then you choose where you want to park and enjoy a picnic. So I hope that would help you out, and I hope that you will do as whatever it is that makes you feel strong again. Stian, something for you to think about.